Alright, y'all, welcome back to my channel. I really hope you can hear me. My neighbor seems to be having some sort of a shindig, and yeah, there's music playing in the back. But anyways, welcome back to my channel. Liv Loves Literature, and we are going to be talking about critical thinking yet again. This is episode 2, part 2 in my critical thinking series, because it is just that important. Listen, y'all have made me come out the woodworks because the things I have been seeing and experiencing, because as I said before, I am a middle school English teacher. The things I have been seeing have been very troubling. So first of all, let's get the credentials out of the way. I have 4 certifications. I think I've listed them over here. I have 4 certifications. I'm a middle school English teacher. I minored in psychology, where I studied a little bit of child psychology specifically. And I'm also getting a degree in library and information science currently. So I'm getting my master's. Yay! So yeah, let's talk about it. And I'm also just an avid reader and writer. So yeah, let's talk about it. So, critical thinking, what is it? Why are you hearing people yap about it? Okay, so critical thinking is the disciplined process of objectively analyzing information, questioning assumptions, evaluating evidence, and reasoning logically to form a well-supported judgment or make an informed decision, going beyond simple acceptance to actively interpreting, synthesizing, and assessing ideas for clarity, accuracy, and relevance. So basically, long story short, using your darn brain that you were so blessed with, right? So that's basically what it is. And I've noticed a decline in most of this. Like I said, most people are using ChatGPT before they even go to Google. I'm not sure how that makes sense in every circumstance. Like, I do understand how ChatGPT and other AI tools, how they have their place. I do understand it some of the time. But if you are doing a personal questionnaire and you can't even figure out how to answer the questions without using ChatGPT, is concerning. Someone's asking you your favorite color and you go to ChatGPT. Obviously, that's an extreme example, but I mean, I teach middle school, and okay, I'm sure it's not just middle school. I'm sure it's in colleges now. It's a problem everywhere that people don't know how to do even simple stuff that like is literally should be off the dome, like off your brain, like stuff that you could do without thinking. You're now asking someone else to do the thinking, asking a robot to do the thinking, and that is so dangerous. You have to protect that precious barrier, the queen, the empress of your body, your brain, right? It's just so crazy to me how we are letting that go. We're letting that fly away. I'm saying a lot about personal curriculums, and I am really excited about that. I am not going to yet reveal what I'm gonna do with that, but just so you know, things are coming, okay? Because I really feel like I am at my most creative right now, and I'm noticing that everyone is kind of at their most creative because they're realizing that creativity and imagination, inspiration, originality, research, all of that is just flying out the window. And it is definitely time to be reeling that back in. Discuss a little bit about what I think has caused the critical thinking crisis. There are a lot of people amongst my generation and also amongst the generation above me. I think there were a lot of people that already did not value education. This is not something that has just happened. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden people don't all of a sudden. No, it's not all of a sudden. It has been a thing, and it has been dying slowly. But COVID really exposed it all. Like it basically like pulled the blanket off, right? Because so let's say there's a group of people who don't value education, right? And they were kind of and now they have their own kids, right? They have their own kids that are probably like between the age that are in grade school still, right? And so maybe there's a theory that certain children felt neglected, or not just neglected, but they felt like their parents were overbearing. And so to take that away, they have decided to allow their kids to have it all, to have the phone, have the iPad, have the freedom. And so because of that, now there has been kind of a complete 180. Like, we're in a new direction, right? So now, whereas a certain generation was very like, education is key, now their children are not putting that emphasis on their children. I also wanted to pause here and say, as I'm editing this, that also the world has changed and the job scene has changed, because whereas at some point going to school and going to college and getting a degree was the only way to make money, but now we have obviously content creation. Hello. Now we have content creation, we have people working from home, we have people teaching without certifications. Like, there are certain things that you don't have to do anymore. So it's not just that parents aren't holding their kids to the same standards. It is that, but it's also that the job market has changed so much because of technology, and they don't seem to care how many degrees you got. And so that, coupled with the technology that is coming out in recent years, in my lifespan, in the 20-something years that I've been alive, I have seen technology change so much. Those two coupled together is what is creating the critical thinking crisis. It's not just the tech. It is not just the tech. It is, I think, parents who were pressured when they were kids don't want to then pressure their own kids. And so now nobody's being pressured to do anything, and everyone's just kind of like, well, might as well just do this, and I'm just gonna, whatever. And so when you give technology into the hands of a child, that's going to become their crutch. Or when you yourself, as the parent, all you're doing is doom scrolling all day, of course the kid's gonna want to copy what you are doing, right? Chances are the person that you're raising, the kid that you're looking at all the time, they are going to want to copy what you are doing. So if you're doom scrolling all the time, they're going to want to doom scroll all the time, right? If you're not putting an emphasis on education, if they if they miss the bus and you're like, okay, well, let's just stay home. Or if they're like, oh, I don't feel like going to school, let's just stay home. If you take your foot off the gas, then of course they're not going to care either. Very rarely will a child care more about their education than their parent will, right? I mean, it's rare. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's just rare. So I really, really think that is the reason why we're in a critical thinking crisis. And we're really, really gonna have to try extra hard to get out of it. I know there's also a lack of resources as well. That's another thing, is that even though we have all this tech, there's still people that are lacking the necessary resources, right? Sometimes libraries in certain communities don't look inviting. I know the library closest to me does not look inviting. I would not step foot in there, especially by myself, right? So the library doesn't look appealing. And that's supposed to be a hub of education and learning and exploration, but why would you want that, The library has to be appealing for then the parents to want to take them there. But libraries are kind of being treated as kind of a dumping ground sometimes for some people. And so that is not making them very appealing. Those are the cards that we have been dealt. And now, where do we go from here? Okay? Together, we can bring back critical thinking. We can become excited about learning again. We can read more. We can discuss our thoughts more. We can do more research. We can think about philosophy together. We can do whatever we need to, okay? It is not gone. It is not dead. It is not lost, as long as those people like us are coming together to still talk about it, okay? So tune in for the next video in this series, and we will get started on bringing back critical thinking.